is a certified project management professional and certified Scrum professional, and has been working in the fields of technology and leadership for more than 20 years. She's a certified yoga and mindfulness trainer, teaching yoga and mindfulness for more than 10 years now. She has been a passionate member of Toastmasters for the past 7 years and acquired her Distinguished Toastmaster DTM Award. She is a motivational speaker, presenting inspiring talks in her signature podcast show, Inspire and Empower. Bindu loves to run and is a 7-time marathon runner, recently running in the iconic marathons, the Chicago, the New York, and the London Marathon. Please help me welcome Bindu as she presents to us Emotional Intelligence, Your Superpower.
Thank you so much, Connie, for that warm welcome. I'm so delighted to be here to talk to you all this afternoon about this work I have been doing on emotional intelligence. First and foremost, I would like to acknowledge all the organizers for conducting this amazing conference for all of us to enjoy and learn from each other. Let's give a big round of applause to all the organizers. Thank you. I hope you're all having a pretty amazing day. And I'm sure most of you have been asked questions like, how are you? How are things going on? How things have been? And so on and so forth. I would like to ask you a different question. How are you feeling? I would like you to take a quick moment and think about this. It's a beautiful day, and in the audience, we have great people bringing together the past, present, and future of District 64 Toastmasters. I would like you to take a moment and think about it. How are you feeling? Let's find that out by using a tool called Mood Meter, which I would like to share with you all. So in this Mood Meter, basically, we can rate ourselves from -5 to +5 in the range, in the terms of pleasantness, how we are feeling. You can give yourself a rating of -5 to +5. +5 meaning you're so feeling amazing, excellent, and you don't want to be anywhere else except in this session to learn about emotional intelligence. And -5 would be, maybe you're thinking, I think I should be in a different session right now. So whatever it is, give yourself a rating of -5 to +5. And you know what? If you're comfortable, you can even put that in the chat for all of us to see how you are feeling. All right. Now I want you to. I think I did saw some chat. Wow, +4, full 5. Wonderful, amazing. 4. All right, all right. Now I would like you to take a quick moment and bring your attention from your mind to your body. How are you feeling energy-wise? Like, are you feeling so pumped, so excited that if given a chance, you'll jump out of this session and run a full marathon? Or maybe you're not feeling that energetic. You're feeling little low in energy, but just want to be here in this session. Now let's see what everyone are saying. Energy is okay for someone little low in energy. Okay, I know it's a long day for some of you, and I'm sure energy levels, it's so difficult to keep up that enthusiasm and excitement. I understand. 3, 4.5, 4. Okay, So 55, wow, okay, Doreen, there you go. All right, very little sleep. Okay, I agree, I completely agree. And there are so much energies going on around first thing, so that brings our energy levels a little bit down as well. Okay, so I see a different varied levels of energies varying from -5 to +5. So we have these four regions or four quadrants we see on this tool. So yellow being we are high in energy levels, we are feeling good about ourselves. Or green is maybe pleasantly good but little low in energy. And red and blue accordingly, red is like high in energy but low in pleasantness, and blue is maybe low in both pleasantness and energy wise. So this will help us to identify how we are feeling in that moment of the day. Now let us quickly move and give ourselves think about a word to converse all those feelings, whatever are going on in ourselves. Will we be able to sum it up in a word by giving a word to it? So I would like you to take a few seconds and give a word to that feeling, what you are going through in your mind. If you would like, you can even, again, if you feel comfortable, please put that in the chat. Okay, challenged. All right, all right. Engagement, wonderful. Relax. Okay, okay. Any more? Hopeful and inspired. Ooh, enjoying. Wonderful, wonderful. And I'm sure you are getting some words to put those in your evaluation forms as well. Just a side tip. All right. Eager, engaged, looking forward to more. Hopeful and motivated. Wonderful, wonderful. Interested, open. Actually, you know what? It seems research shows sometimes it's a bit difficult or tedious to sum up our emotions in a word. But I see this group is so impressive. They're being able to identify that word or whatever, putting together those emotions in a word. So moment to moment, time to time, in our day-to-day life, we go across these emotions and we feel in certain times certain ways, maybe excited, happy, but sometimes maybe not that way, maybe not comfortable, discomfortable, lonely, disappointed, all different kind of feelings. Now let me stop sharing. I would like to take you all on your day-to-day journey. For example, just go along with me. We all get up in the morning. How do we feel, most of us, in the mornings? How is your day looks like? You're all excited, inspired, and hopeful, and to engage or to accept and acknowledge that beautiful morning. And then you get ready and then you go to your main day-to-day work, maybe to your workplace or maybe some other activity, what you typically do in your mornings. How are those mornings looks like? Like you're also excited or you're drained of energy. No, I'm not looking forward to this morning or to this work, something like that. So however it is in the morning, how do you feel? How do you feel? Think about that mornings. How do you feel most of the time? If you're at the workplace or maybe in the prior days where we used to commute, sometimes our commutes are so difficult, so disappointing, and that will drain our most of our energy. By the time we reach office, we are not at all ready to accept that hectic day or anything like that. But anyway, now we are all live in a different world, and some of us have that blessing or opportunity of working from home. It has its own back and plus and minus, but still a different lifestyle. So you were at the work, you went through your meetings, morning, then already like you are into work, meeting 1, meeting 2, meeting 3, meeting 4, then comes lunchtime. How is your lunchtime? Typically, you are excited, and with whom you have the lunch, you do very quickly at your desk, or you have some people, you have some good relationships at workplace with whom you enjoy a very nice lunch and have a heartful laugh with your colleagues. How that lunchtime looks like? You finish lunch, then you get back to work. Enjoyment. I love lunch. Okay, there you go. And then after lunch, how your rest of the afternoon looks like. Like again, meeting 6, meeting 7, meeting 8, then some more things here and there, complete work, and then tired. Yes, of course. We are, most of the times it is so tiring to go through that work. And then finally, we come back home. How is your evening routine looks like? Like you are again so excited. Maybe you have some kind of a routine. You go on your regular walk, or you go to gym, work out, and then come home, or you spend some quality time with your family, or maybe sometimes we are not that energetic and then we just relax on our couch and catch on that Netflix episode, some things like that, right? So typical evenings. Then you finished your evening, now you finished your dinner, and then you're going back to bed. Now, let me know, raise your hand if you think you might have had some 200 to 300 emotions throughout your day.
Oh boy.
I think we all should raise our hands, because it's not just 200, 300. We must have had couple of thousand emotions throughout our day-to-day life. It seems in some instances, we come across 2 to 3 emotions in just a single moment itself. But the news is we are not aware of them. We are not aware of those emotions or feelings, what we are having in our minds. And when we are not aware of it, it will, and it impacts our decision making, the judgments we make, or relationships, not only with ourselves, or even with others as well. But when we are not aware of them, it will make some impact or unexpected constraints or unexpected things in all those decisions or judgments what we make about ourselves. So it is very important to identify and know our emotions, which will help us to make right decisions, and also improve our relationships, not only with ourselves, but even with others. So in this session, we are going to see what is that emotional intelligence is all about, and what are the different aspects, and what are the actions, most importantly, what are the actions we can take to improve those aspects to be emotionally intelligent. Are you all ready to get started with that? Yes, let's see. Again, let me share my screen. Now I will share a few more things over there. So emotional intelligence is brought together by Dr. Daniel Goleman. He is considered as father of emotional intelligence. And according to him, this is his definition. Nowadays, we are being judged by a new yardstick, not just how smart we are or by our training and experience, but also how we handle ourselves and relationships with each other. That is the most important aspect. We are all being judged nowadays. So emotional intelligence is nothing but it's your ability to recognize and understand those emotions in yourself and others, and your ability to use that awareness to manage your behavior and relationships. So that is a kind of a simple exercise or activity we have done in the starting of this session, where giving that thought to ourselves in that moment, identifying, checking with ourselves how we are feeling and what is the different kind of emotions we are going through, and also giving it a word: happy, disappointed, depressed, anxious, nervous, anger. All these words will help us understand to identify that emotion. So that is emotional intelligence. And there are 4 aspects of this emotional intelligence. So there is, first one is knowing your emotion, that is self-awareness. What is the emotion I'm feeling right now? And once I know it, how do I manage self-management? How do I manage this emotion? And how do I motivate myself to behave good or to have that nice relationship with others? And that is nothing but social awareness, recognizing and understanding each other's emotions, and also managing those relationships. So these are the 4 main quadrants, or the 5 aspects what we will be seeing in this session. And the first 2, the self-awareness and self-management, is about ourselves. And the rest 2, the social awareness and relationship management, is about others, how we interact with others. Now let's see each of them. So self-awareness, we have seen little bit in that activity itself, like it is the ability to perceive our emotions at that moment and understand those tendencies across situations. When you go through your entire day, how many different kind of emotions we have throughout our day, the good and also the bad. So asking yourself those questions at moment to moment in your day-to-day life. What am I feeling now? Or why am I feeling like that? What is it triggering that particular feeling in myself? So reflecting on those behaviors, knowing those triggers will help you understand what are the emotions or what are the feelings we are going through at that moment. So practicing self-awareness, that is, you can use that activity what we have done earlier in this session. So moment to moment, asking yourself, questioning yourself that why am I feeling like this? What am I feeling right now? So I'm going to take a big decision. Am I in good mood? Am I in that yellow quadrant, high in energy, high in pleasantness to take that major decision? Or am I in the blue region, low in energy, low in pleasantness? And I don't think that's a good time to make any biggest decisions of our life when we are in that kind of a quadrant. So naming that emotion, identifying that emotion is the first step and the most important step to know what we are, to become aware of the emotional intelligence. So that is about first thing. Now, what are the different actions we can take to build that self-awareness? One is the activity what we have done, but few other things are giving yourself few mindful moments. See, we all have that non-stop thinking radio going on in your mind, in our mind, right? Throughout our day, something or other. It will keep on going on and on and on and on, which will drain our energy most of the times. So how about taking some mindful moments whenever it is? I mean, some people say first thing in the morning, or maybe that is not a good time for most of us. So we might take some time maybe in the afternoon. That is the best time for us. Or maybe in the evening after the entire day is done, we are relaxed and now we can take some mindful moments just for ourselves. Or how about before going to the bed? So take some moments and reflect on yourself. Think about, give some time to yourself and think about what am I doing? What am I feeling? How am I feeling? So taking that few mindful moments, doesn't matter how long, even if it is a couple of minutes in a day, more than enough to cultivate that habit of being emotionally intelligent. And then the second one is positivity portfolio. So all of us have some special objects in our lives, right? Our family pictures or something our grandparents gave us, or from our family it is coming all the way, or something you love about, something which you resonate with. So having those objects handy with yourself, maybe a small stone or something enabled with inspire or hope or something, just keeping that with yourself. Whenever you feel you are in the blue quadrant or red quadrant, feeling drained, not pleasant at all, bringing that object to yourself to engage, to activate those positive emotions in yourself. So keeping yourself, maintaining that positivity portfolio kind of thing, gathering some special objects and keeping them with you. And last but not least, this scheduling positive events. It's so important in our lives. See, we are all so habituated of scheduling some events in our day, like in our life regularly, like appointments, doctor appointment, dental appointment, this appointment, that appointment, not only for ourselves, even for our family members. How about taking some time to schedule just an appointment with yourself? It's me time. So in that me time, what I do some activities to enable those positive emotions. I catch up a movie and I just relaxedly I'll watch, or I'll just listen to my favorite music, or I'll just go on a walk around my neighborhood. Whatever it is, just give yourself some time, give yourself a permission to have that schedule a positive event in your day-to-day life, and which will enable those positive emotions in yourself. Personally, if you ask me, my favorite is gratitude. It is so simple and so profound, I feel. It's any moment, it don't take anything, just to tell to ourselves, I'm so thankful. For this moment, if I say, I'm so thankful for this wonderful opportunity to present in this beautiful District 64 and also interact with all the numbers over here. That is the best moment right now. So I'm so thankful for that opportunity. So and this is also one of my favorite quotes by Rumi. If you say only one prayer in a day, make it thank you. I should tell you, I also share with others. I mean, gone were the days where we used to maintain a bountiful journal, like a big journal where we used to write the things I'm thankful for and everything. Nowadays, we are so useful with these phones or some other instruments which are always with us. How about using that Evernote app or just a simple note app and making a note of what I'm thankful for? And you know what? The beauty of it is you can even add a picture over there. You're going on a road, you saw something beautiful, then just click a picture. I'm so thankful for this wonderful thing. And maybe today it might not seem big, but down the line, after 3 years, after 5 years, when you look back into those happy notes of yours, what happens? Oh, I was so happy about that particular item or that particular picture, that particular person, or something like that, right? So I think that's one beauty of it. And I have to tell you, recently I have presented this session in one of the district where I had an honor of having our international president, Ms. Lars Dowley, in the meeting. She was the international president for 2018 and 19. And she personally sent me a comment of she loved that idea of maintaining a digital journal and where we can even add pictures. So it's a lovely idea. So if you love it, if you like it, please do follow that. So that is one of the activities or one of the actions what we can do in order to bring those positive emotions in our day-to-day life. Now let's move on and see the second aspect, that is self-management. Once after I identify my emotions, what do I do? How do I manage them? I mean, positive ones are okay. How about those negative ones especially? How do I manage them and how do I motivate myself to come out of those negative emotions, to shift my day from negative to positive? Let's see what those are. So self-management, again from Dr. Daniel Goleman, it is about the ultimate act of personal responsibility. Not only at work, anywhere, it may be taking control of our own state of mind, isn't it? That is our biggest responsibility to own, to control our own state of mind. So we will have some great relationships with ourselves and even with others. So this is one tool, again, I want to share with you all. It is available on the internet, the classification of character strengths. So it's a 24 character strengths where you can do one assessment and you can find what is your character strength. There are so many things like leadership, kindness, love, gratitude. With that, you will do the assessment and you will be able to find what is your character strength. Because it becomes easy once we know what is our character strength. Accordingly, we will be able to manage it and regulate it. So if you are interested, please go ahead and just try doing that assessment and finding your character strength. And now once I found the strength, what I do with it? Get involved. For example, kindness is your character strength. How about getting involved using that strength? Or creativity is your strength. For example, use the creativity wherever, like writing a blog or writing a paper or how about a book or maybe drawing or maybe cooking, so many things. So finding our strength will help us to channel our energies to that particular aspect we can develop in our lives. So researchers gave a name also to it, that is called flow. That means whatever we are interested about, if we are doing that particular task, we feel peak experience and peak performance. I'm sure most of you might have experienced in your day-to-day life. Some things, when you keep doing them, you will lose track of time. You will think like, maybe for example, if you're interested in painting, you start painting after 3 or 4 hours, then you see, oh my God, this much time has been happened. So that means that is your strength. That is the task you love to do. So when we do the task which we love to do, we kind of lose track of time. So that is your signature strength, and that is the activity you should focus on. And also last but not least, this constructive inner dialogues. I think sometimes I feel we are I mean, I myself is the biggest enemy of myself. Like the way we talk to ourselves sometimes in our mind. So we tell so many negative things to our mind. No, you're not going to be able to do that. Or what do you think of yourself? That how you think you will be able to do it? Some things like that, right? So observing this negative self-talk and contradicting it and replacing it with a positive one. Just saying, okay, I agree with you, but let me try, let me go with it and see how it works out, some things like that. So encouraging ourselves, kind of having that positive self dialogue with ourselves will help us to channel those negative moments or negative energies into positive side. So these are the few actions what I would like to share with you all. And personally, example, if I want to share, reading is my the most biggest favorite activity of all the time. Like my Saturdays goes on without reading at least 2 to 3 books on a Saturday. In a year I tend to read some 100 to 150 books, and this is my virtual bookshelf which I maintain at that simple website called 50bookpledge.ca. And it's a wonderful site where you can maintain your reading logs. And the beauty of it, you can even share with others, your friends and family, the books you're reading, or you can even see what your friends are reading so that you can get some ideas from that book list as well. So that is a beautiful site again. And if you can, we can maintain for years. I think I'm maintaining there from 2016 onwards, my bookshelves are there. So I thought I will share that website if anyone are interested to maintain a virtual bookshelf. Now moving on to the next aspect of the self-management, that is motivating yourself. Now I identified my emotions. I know what to do to manage my emotions. Now how I motivate myself to come out of that negative to positive self. Let's see what we can do. So again, Dr. Daniel Goleman says, people who possess self-motivation skills are driven to achieve beyond expectations. The key word here is achieve. They're motivated by deeply embedded desire to achieve for the sake of achievement alone. That is his definition of self-motivation. So what are the things we can do? I mean, keeping our eye on the goal, that is which will help us to be motivated. Like in Toastmasters, for example, we want to finish in the pathways maybe by level 1 in this next 2 months, or level 2 in next 4 months, level 3 next 6 months, or I want to finish one pathway in this year. So keeping our eye on that goal, I think motivates us to sign up for to be a speaker in one of the meetings. Because if I want to finish level 1 in next 2 months, I have to give 3 speeches or 4 speeches, then how do I time myself? So that gives me some motivation to sign up for those meetings and to keep me on my goal as well. So keeping our eye on the goal is one aspect which will motivate us to reach, to achieve whatever we want to achieve. And what are a few more actions? So a couple of things what I want to share is affirmations. We all know how much it helps us, right? That motivational self-statements. Like sometimes whenever I have a big meeting or some big presentation at workplace, what I used to, I know, and not nowadays, no workplace, no going there. But what I used to do is I used to go into restrooms, and then I used to tell to myself, see myself in the mirror, and I used to tell myself, smile at myself, and then I used to tell myself, but yes, you are going to do it. Don't worry, you are going to do it. I mean, it is such a simple act, but believe me, it really used to give me kind of an encouragement to do my presentation well. And after I do my presentation well, again, I used to go back into the restroom and tell myself, yes, you did it well. So some things like that. Just doing those positive affirmations with ourselves, I think will keep us feel self-motivated. And how about visualization? Like using those positive mental images. It seems all the development in our life happens with the development of the images, what we see in our mind. Like whatever I want to become. Like if, for example, if we want to achieve that a distinguished Toastmaster, then how about seeing ourselves as a distinguished Toastmaster? Then with that image, the development of the image will help us to achieve whatever we want to achieve in the real life. So using that positive mental images is one aspect of keeping ourselves self-motivated. Then we talked a little bit about signature strengths, and we also talked about how to use them in our day-to-day life, like kindness, creativity, those kind of things. How about taking it one step forward to serve something bigger than ourselves? Like for example, if your passion is to learn and to teach something, then how about taking it a step forward and teaching someone in the community, maybe in the local church or local schools or local communities, some activities. How about taking it a step forward there? Like that, I think with that, it makes us connected to not only oneself, but to a higher purpose as well, like what we are all here for, achieving or utilizing our purpose. So that is one personal example. What I want to share with you all is I am such a passionate member of Toastmasters. Like I can't express in words how thankful I am being a member of Toastmasters program. It's been 7 years, and in first 3-4 years, I think I acquired my Distinguished Toastmaster award. But after that, made me think like, how can I give back? And my give back is the youth leadership programs. I'm currently serving not only now, since last 2-3 years, I'm serving as a youth leadership chair for District 25. And as part of that, I do I might have done numerous youth leadership programs so far. And every summer, at least some 50 to 100 students will be there with me where I conduct these youth leadership programs. And I also run a Gavel Club program throughout the year. And these are few of my students who have finished youth leadership program. And that is the way I think for me to serve community or use my passion of teaching, taking it one step ahead and giving it back to the youth. So think yourself, whatever is your signature strength, how to make use of it, how to serve others. I think that will channel our emotions and also motivate ourselves. So right now we have seen knowing our emotions and managing our emotions. Now, last but not least, let's see the couple of other things. One is social awareness, like asking ourselves questions of, am I listening? Did I ask right questions to these people? Did I adjust my body language when I'm speaking to the people? Am I showing that interest in others? Or what is my tone of voice? I mean, I'm good, but is my voice coming out aggressively, angrily to hurt others' feelings? So checking ourselves, I think, will help us to have those good social interactions with other people. Now, what are the few actions? Looking for the, like understanding, basically having an empathy towards others, like assuming others also have the best intentions and walking in their shoes or listening better. I know we have a wonderful role in our Toastmasters itself, like that active listener. I mean, for a good public speaker, I think it's not only just speaking, but we also want to be a good listener to understand others and reflecting on their experiences. I think that will help us to be socially aware and also have good relationships with others. And one of my examples is, as a yoga and mindfulness trainer, I conduct these mindfulness sessions. And through that, I believe I improve that aspect of having that understanding other people or improving that social awareness. And last but not least, that is relationship management. Now, how do we manage relationships? So I would, to understand that or to build those relationships, I would like to share this with you all. See, there's a big shift from how things were and now how things are. Before, people might have been asked questions like, how are you? How smart are you? Or how much creative you are, or how much you are inspiring. But now things have changed. We are being asked questions like, how smart you are making others around you, or how much creativity you are inspiring in others. It is not how creative you are, but how are you helping others to become more creative, and how much your drive is becoming contagious to your team and family. So we have a responsibility, not only just developing ourselves, but a implicit responsibility of making around the people around you also more thriving. That's what we are all leading to. So in that aspect, I think a couple of tools again I will share are this leading. How do we lead others around us or our family or the team? First is listening, empathizing with them, if needed, agreeing with them or apologizing to that people, and then doing something for some other people. I think that's a way we can lead the teams around us. And the one other tool is saying no, but when you are contradicting with others, it need not be in a different manner. We can just neutralize with them, like I agree with you, what you're trying to say, immediately empathizing with them and courteously explaining our perspective, and then asking for help. I believe that's the way we can improve relationships, not only at workplace, but wherever we go. So emotional intelligence, in all together, it is the benefits, or what it helps us to do is the leadership ability, the team performance, good decision making, and reducing the stress, and good interactions with our teams, and a personal well-being. These are few of the aspects what we will earn being emotionally intelligent, but there are much more, many more. When we are known of our emotions and we practice them in our day-to-day life. So one last thing is taking this moment to ourselves. I mean, all our superpower lives lives in this moment. Like something happens, somebody triggers something what you don't expect in your life. You identify it, yes, sense it, yes, something bad happened, something what I'm not expecting happened. Stop. So your superpower lies in this moment. Stop, just stop. Even if it is a microsecond, please stop. Then see your best self, like how I want to behave in this moment. And then what is my strategy? And then behave in that manner. That gives you that medal or whatever. I know it seems such a big, I mean, so many steps. And when that trigger, somebody rushes us, somebody passes a bitter comment against us, we don't have all this time to think about all this. But once you start practicing it, it becomes a part of your life. I am the example for it. I am the example for it. Years back, I might have been not like this, or I mean, maybe anger or say words which I repent later. Why did I say that? Why did I, telling to myself all those things. But throughout the years, I cultivated that habit of, if possible, altogether avoiding the situation. But if I am in that situation, then instead of reacting immediately, just giving a microsecond to myself, thinking about it, and then moving on how I want to behave or how I want to respond to that situation. So I would like to share with you all that. And with this beautiful quote, I will end the session. That is by Dr. Viktor Frankl. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space lies our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and freedom. So without reacting, please take that meta moment to respond instead of reacting. And these are few books I would like to recommend on emotional intelligence. One is by Dr. Daniel Goleman himself on emotional intelligence. I just given only one book here, but there are so many numerous books he have done on emotional intelligence. And then to find our purpose, these are two classic books what I love and I would like to share: The Purpose-Driven Life and the Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's an all-time classic, I believe, where we all can make use of it to improve our relationships. And with that, thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. And as I mentioned, I'm a Youth Leadership Chair of District 25, and that is my email address if you would like to be in touch with me. And I do have a podcast where I share all these inspiring messages. It's Inspire and Empower. You can even reach out to me over there. And now with that, I would like towards the end of our session,